This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I want to show you repetition that I've noticed, that I've put together, because I feel like it's easier for you to see how these movies and all these shows and why it's important to see these things, how they're using predictive programming to prepare people for what is next to come. I've talked about transhumanism. There's a lot of people on YouTube who are experts at it. There's this mindset of downloading your soul or downloading your consciousness into an AI or into a robot. This is what the elites believe is going to give them eternal life, which makes them believe that they're never going to die. They actually believe this. Like God can't come down here and destroy a robot and kick it right in the nards and throw it into the pit. But this is what they believe. And there's been so much predictive programming in films talking about this like it's a good thing, of how cool it would be to be able to download your consciousness onto a hard drive or download it into a computer so that you can live forever, have immortality. We've seen it in the X-Files. You've seen it in a lot of different movies. Here are some clips and some repetitions so you can see that this stuff isn't original content, right? Everybody always thinks, oh, there's this new movie. They don't realize it because their brain isn't processing the fact that they're seeing the same thing over and over and over. Just like with music, right? Every song it might sound different, have a different beat, but the lyrics are the same nonsense, nothing. Talking about money, drugs, right? And rock and roll, talking about hell, being bad, all this type of stuff. They're being programmed, but they don't realize that all the music's the same, that all the movies and the plots are the same, right? All these movies about alien invasions, right? The same movies come out every month. Demon possession. Okay, the same can be said with this type of, there's movies, cloning, right? All this stuff, and artificial intelligence, and, transhumanism. The same can be said for all of these topics that I talk about on this channel and many other people talk about. But when you see it pieced together, your brain starts to unplug from this stuff. And that's why I feel like what I do on this channel is so important. I don't feel like I'm important, but I feel like what I'm showing you as far as, finding all of this stuff and putting it together in a row so that your brain can process it and go, oh, wow. Because if you don't see it like that, you forget. You see a movie, you forget. 5 years later, you see a movie, different actors, same plot, but you don't remember that it's specifically, oh yeah, this other movie, unless it was like something that you absolutely adored, like Star Wars with a different name or something like that. And even those things, and trust me, I don't adore Star Wars. I think it's one of the worst movies ever. I always like to throw that in there. Whew, man, talk about. I'm really glad I grew up and wasn't into that nerd fest. But anyway, all these movies, even something like that, like Star Wars, pretty much is the same plot, right? Star Trek, Star Wars, all these space things. I never got into that stuff, but you know what I mean. So look at the repetition here with how they are constantly showing you this in a pattern, whether it's through comedy and deflecting to make it seem cool, which I'll show you, or it's through, serious movies that are trying to say this is a good thing and watch out for the dangerous people who want to stop it from happening, like this Johnny Depp movie. Take a look for yourselves.
Imagine a machine with a full range of human emotion. Its analytical power will be greater than the collective intelligence of every person in the history of the world.
He's dying, but his mind is a pattern of electrical signals. We can upload his consciousness. We can save him.
Just anything, a thought, a childhood memory. How will you know who you're dealing with?
Evelyn,
Oh my God.
I can't feel anything.
I'm here.
It's like I designed heaven. No one here ever dies of cancer or Alzheimer's. Living a lie here. It's a work camp where digital
slaves who take our uploaded minds to develop science that only the elite will use to lead your world. We turn theories of space colonization into realities for them. We dream, but we're not allowed to have dreams. No choice, no diversity. Here, Steve Jobs, Marvin Minsky, Michael Crichton, they all hate it here. They don't even know who they are. What we were in that life is completely opposite from what we are here.
The Doctor.
Virtual reality holds a key to the evolution of the human mind.
With a vision of the future.
I have a game in my house that you might like to play. Would you like that? Yeah. Okay.
It's gonna hit me!
No, Joe, just relax. It's gonna be like being up there with the stars, Joe. They're going to another planet.
His mind is like a clean, hungry sponge.
Around you, I have never been more alive. In 1972, I received a terminal diagnosis. Science could not save my body. My mind, however, that was worth saving. On 200,000 feet of data banks.
People will insist that your buildings make you immortal. Now, as you slip away, do you feel immortal? Offer humanity's greatest minds more time to fulfill their potential. An empty vessel. If we do this, there's no turning back. Your old life is over.
What's that?
Something to stop your heart.
What?
It's something to stop your heart.
How are you feeling? How's that new body smell?
I'll make you a new one. You don't have to go to the next place. I'll see you soon, Mommy.
I'm a ninja.
Pin response normal. How you feeling, Jake?
Hey guys. Welcome to your new body, Jake.
Good.
So it said that
is exactly why, and this is exactly how they program people. Now remember, the way that magic works, in a sense, and I'm no magician, and I've never been into magic. I never practiced that crap. Okay, people know my testimony. People have listened to my channel a while. I never was on the dark side and came over. I might have an attitude. I might have a little, what is it called? Being a little aggressive of a speaker, which intimidates people, but never was into that stuff. But one of the things, if you research the occult and you try to expose them, that you learn is that magic, to enhance the power of the craft, they need to show you it in front of your face, right? That's one of the reasons that they show a lot of these sigils and they splice them into music videos and stuff like that. Because they're using and they're actually putting a spell on you, or when you're watching these videos, you don't even realize it, right? But this is spiritual warfare. This is how it works. Okay, so one of the things that they do, in addition to casting the spell, by showing it over and over, is they desensitize you from it, so that when it happens, it's not some shocking thing where you're going to be like, oh my gosh, what? Because they've been telling you it's going to happen. They've been easing you into it. So when it happens, people are just going to go, oh, that's pretty cool. Just imagine like in the Wild Wild West, if suddenly somebody came in and there was a clone of that person, right? Everybody would grab their, and grab their guns and shoot the thing. Or just imagine, if there was this, right? Somebody was downloaded, or a robot walked into town. I mean, they would light the thing on fire and probably do more than that. I mean, the thing would be decapitated. The reason that they do the predictive programming is so that stuff like that doesn't happen in the future. So that when they push the microchip, when they push transhumanism, that people aren't going to rebel against it. They're going to be eased and comforted into it, because it's not going to be a shock to their system. It's not going to be a shock to their brain. Okay? That's important to remember. Very important to remember, because that's how they do this. That is how mind control works. So one of the biggest things that they use in mind control is the repetition, which I constantly show you. The repetition, the desensitizing, and the predictive programming. Those are the three essential keys that are used through the mind control process. And they're doing it on all of us every single day, whether you realize it or not. I read people in the comment section all the time, and they're like, get rid of your TV, get rid of your TV. And I'm just like, I know you mean well, and I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. That doesn't mean anything. You're on the internet. The internet is the TV now. People don't have cable anymore. You could still watch everything. If you're on YouTube commenting on my channel, guess what? You can watch all the same stuff on YouTube. TV shows, movies, it's all there. It's always there, right? If you have nothing and you just have your phone, they're still getting you with marketing ads, commercials. You really have to be off the grid. And sure, there's some people that are off the grid, but if you're on my channel watching this, you're not technically off the grid, because you are connected to the internet, which means you're connected. And they're going to always use that to program and control you, okay? So the key, I know people say, well, the key is to get off the grid and do that. Well, if you can do that, do it. But if you can't, the key is understanding it and knowing it when it's happening to you so that your brain can see it coming. So your brain can know what's going on. It can be aware. In other words, your brain can be turned on instead of shut off. Because most of the time in the day, people's brains are completely shut off. Completely. They turn their mind off. They don't realize it that they're walking around. That's because they're in an alpha state. They're in a sleeping state. Like when you tie your shoes. Are you thinking? No, you automatically know what to do. The routine of everyday life. Get up, go to work, sit at your desk. This is all just happening without you really processing the things that are going on around you, right? And studying what's going on around you. When you wake up, it's more exhausting because your brain is constantly working, but you see these things. You see the repetition, you see the control, and then you understand how the matrix works, okay? Now, this is the type of video you should share with your friends. They might go, oh, there's no way they're going to download your brain onto a hard drive. Sure, they might think that now, but if you tell people 50 years from now that people in this day and age didn't think it was possible, they would laugh because they're going to be programmed into thinking it. And I think they have the technology to do it? I mean, technology / magic to do it? I'm sure that they think that they do. I'm sure that they do. Right? It's not something I'm worrying about because it ain't happening to me, and and Lord knows they probably don't want me inside of a robot living forever anyway. Okay, not that I want to be living here forever anyway either. It's already hard enough right now. I can't imagine if we're still here in 50 years or the world's still here and the trumpets haven't sounded, what it'll be like. But share this with your friends. Hopefully it helps them wake up, at least to the repetition part of it. And what I'm saying clearly maybe hit something in their head and they go, oh yeah, that does make sense. Because it should make sense. It's just simple human nature. Just like when we study animals and you know what they're going to do. Ooh, this is what, you watch the Animal Channel. You're like, this is what the lion's going to do. This is what the bear's going to do. Right? You know where it's going to go. And these guys study them all day. That's what they do to us. They observe our behavior, and that's how they have us caught in this matrix because they've created a giant bubble to trap us in because they know how to hold the cheese in front of our nose or the carrot in front of our nose, right? Or the dollar in front of our nose, and how to lead us just walking into walls and never escaping it. So when your brain starts to see this stuff, you do escape it. I thank you for listening to today's show. I hope you found this video informative, and I'd like to thank everybody out there who supports the channel. Again, please support it if you can through Patreon. YouTube has really been squeezing down. I don't have a PayPal anymore. I just want to make that clear because people keep trying to PayPal and it's not going through for them and they message me. The only way you can support is through Patreon. Watching the ads in full helps the channel out greatly. And there's also a Teespring store for shirts and things like that, which is pretty much the same as doing PayPal anyway. At least, you got something for it. Thank you all. God bless you and your families.